Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I am super excited to come to you today and tell you that Forthright Ministries is celebrating 10 years of ministry around the world, and I wanted to take some time and kind of talk about some of the big projects that we've done and some of the things that have meant the most, and just what is Forthright Ministries. First, let me start with what is Forthright Ministries. We're a ministry of helps. We have done everything from helping with fundraising, marketing, leadership training, preaching. If you can come up with it in ministry, we've probably been involved with it in some way, shape, or form. And so we do all of this because we are a ministry of helps. We do all of it at no cost to the ministries we work with, especially our marketing. Now, our marketing assistance is a big deal because if a ministry hires a marketing person, it's going to cost them usually about $75, $50 to $75 an hour for a marketing person on average. And we go in and we offer this service completely free of charge. We don't charge anything for the work we do. And we have been involved with some really cool projects over the years and different kinds of projects. And so that's kind of our heartbeat. Now, what's really neat is we've also helped a lot with fundraising. And so when you take our marketing initiatives and the fundraising assistance that we've done, over 10 years, we've actually helped raise somewhere around $70,000, if not more. Now, that's a conservative estimate because I do know in the past 3 years, we've helped raise well over $30,000 for ministries across the globe. And so in just 3 years, we've done $30,000, actually a little bit over that. And so I'm taking a guess to say it's probably about 70,000 for the past 10 years, though I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually much higher. We just didn't start tracking it until about 3 years ago. We've done so much over 10 years, and I wanted to take a look at some of our most interesting, our most effective, and just the different kinds of projects we've done and share it with you, and then tell you where we're going over the next 10 years. Probably our biggest project that we did, and this was way back right at the beginning. I believe we were only about 2 years old at this point. We barely had a logo. We were brand new and just kind of, monkeying around with different ideas. And somewhere along the line, I got the idea we should host an apologetics concert. And so we put together this huge project. And what was funny about it was that I did it basically on my own. We were a new ministry. I didn't have the outreach, the people to help me with it or anything. And so we put together this huge concert, and I had no budget at all. And so we ended up, I believe maybe we had 35, 40 people show up for the concert that night. And we advertised it as best as we could with no budget, but we ended up getting there that night and nobody was there. We held it at People's Church, and they have a beautiful big auditorium that was almost empty, and it almost became like a private concert for everybody. And I'm sitting there the whole night and I'm really nervous because there's certain expenses that go along with the concert, and the guys from Apologetics were super easy. The only thing they required from us is that we pay for their hotel. And I'm looking at this point going, we don't even have money to pay for your hotel. And I didn't tell them this. They had no clue what was going on. And so I'm sitting there and I'm in panic mode throughout the whole concert, and I'm sitting in the back row and I'm just like, I blew it. I really blew it. This isn't going to work. And so afterwards, after the concert was said and done, we were packing up the lights and the sound and everything, and Jay came over and we're talking. He ended up saying to me something along the lines of, we want to give you tonight's proceeds towards your ministry. And he says, no, we want to give you the money. And I'm sitting there crying, and I said, Jay, you don't know how much this means. And to this day, I don't know that Jay realizes what happened that night. But the amount that we ended up getting from him was exactly what we needed to pay the hotel costs. And it was just an awesome moment. And I said to Jay at that point, I said, Jay, wherever we go with Forthright Ministries, we're a brand new ministry. We're only about 2 years old at this point, if even that old. I said, Jay, anything that ever happens in this ministry will be a result of what you sowed into us tonight. And so I don't bring this thing up to say, oh, look at how great Jay is or anything like that. What I'm saying is he put into our ministry from a very early point, and it's just awesome to see that where we are today is in part because he sowed into the ministry so many years ago. I believe there was a blessing that came with it, and I'm just thankful to Jay and the Apologetics for helping launch this ministry, even though I don't know that they realized the gravity of what they did. I think one of the most important projects that we've ever done was helping Pastor Lee Bundy after his wife had a stroke. And he had called me and said, hey, my wife had a really bad stroke, and we were talking, and they were going to have to remodel part of their house to make it handicap accessible. Their house, like their bathroom was too small for a wheelchair and things like that. He says, well, we've got to come up with $20-some thousand for this project to remodel our house. And I know as a pastor, he doesn't just have that kind of money sitting around. So I said, look, I do marketing, we do fundraising, we can work with you and help you. And so we put together a GoFundMe page. I went to his house, we met at his church, we did a video interview, a full video spread that we were able to put on the GoFundMe page and explain what had happened. And so we went and did this whole project, and by the time it was said and done, we set a time limit. We had raised I think it was over $9,000 that we brought in. And it was absolutely amazing to be part of that project and to know that we were able to help alleviate some of that stress that was coming along with this project and everything that he was dealing with. And, he did most of the hard work. We just did the video and set up the GoFundMe page and posted on it and kept everybody in the loop of what was going on. So it was a really cool project to be part of. It was, like I said, it's probably the most important project I think that we have been part of, because it was somebody who's sown into my life, somebody who's sown into our ministry. His church is a monthly contributor to our ministry, and it was just a great way for us to give back. And I really appreciate Pastor Lee for his mentorship, for his brotherhood, and just everything over the years. And this was just a great way for us to be able to give back to somebody who's done so much. He's a vet. He works with vets, and just somebody who's always giving to the community, and we were able to kind of give back and help out. I think one of the biggest projects that we've ever been involved with is coming on with the Community Strong Project, which is a conglomeration of pastors along the state line area, and they all come together to work on this big project every year that's geared towards strengthening families. And so we got invited to be part of this project and sit on the board, and I don't think I realized how big of a project this was going to become. But after being on it for 2 years, we realized that we average somewhere between 40 to 80 hours. I do personally put in about 40 to 80 hours worth of work on this project alone, and that's designing graphic design stuff, being at meetings, and just working on the side. It's just neat to be part of this project and be able to give it a very professional look and make sure everything's branded. Everything for each year has been made to look exactly like it all flows together, between everything from fonts to colors, any kind of design. Everything flows together so that from the moment you get an invitation or see something out in the public to the day you walk into the event, it all matches. And so that's something that we've been able to do and bring in. And like I said, it's a huge project. We plan for a year for this project, and we're having meetings even now once a month, and soon we'll start in with the graphic design and everything for 2020. And it's amazing, we're barely at the end of 2019, and we're already looking at graphic design projects for March of 2020. So it's a lot of work for what we do, and it's fun to be part of, and it's really fun at the end of the project to look and go, wow, look at how it all came together. And working on the team with a great group of men and women who are all ministry leaders throughout our community, it's just a great thing to be part of. Most exciting part of being involved with Forthright Ministries is the ability, or the open doors, to travel around the world and see so many different ministries and see what's happening around the globe. We have been to Costa Rica, where we help document a church plant that was taking place. Actually, it was 2 church plants, and the church wanted to be able to show what their mission fund was going to, so we went down and documented what was happening there. We've been to India, where we went to document the work of Dr. Johan Skanken, who's a great friend and a mentor who's been part of our ministry for many years. And so we were able to kind of give back to him. And then also we were in a lot of time in South Africa, which is kind of my home away from home to some extent. I've spent probably about a year altogether in South Africa since taking off with Forthright Ministries. And so we spend a lot of time over there with our friends at Lofdale International, which is down in Cape Town. And we go over and we preach while we're there. We do leadership trainings. We help with marketing, just all sorts of things that we're able to get involved with and see what's happening over there. We're part of the feeding programs and just everything that's taking place. So it's really exciting to go over and see, what's happening there and document it and be able to show people what's happening. But, this ministry is so neat. The doors that have opened up from our international ministries is just astounding. And, it's interesting because our international ministry is actually opening doors for more ministry here within the United States. And so we are actually at a point now where we have launched the Alpha Generation Project, which the Alpha Generation Project was something that came out of our trip to India, where we were with this tribal group that was only introduced to the modern world 25 years ago. And so we sat there with this tribal group for a week, and I realized nobody's telling their story, specifically their testimony. Some of the testimonies were just amazing, and nobody was telling these testimonies. And so I said, well, we got to do something about this. And we came back and I started looking into film equipment and everything like that, and realized, oh my goodness, film equipment's very expensive. And so I kept putting it off. And then somebody came along and spoke to me and said, hey, why don't you look at Native American groups and look at working on their tribal people? Why don't you document their stories? And I thought, well, that's interesting. I've always loved Native American culture and things like that. And so this summer, we actually took our first trip up to Minnesota, where we were with the Ojibwe people for a week. And we were able to go up and film a bunch of interviews that we're now putting together into a big documentary that'll be about an hour long. And that's, if you see the screen behind me, I'm actually working on that now. But the idea is that we can work on these things and get it all set up. It's a massive project. It requires a lot of work. And one of the things for us is that because we take so much equipment, now you can't even see this right now, but we're just doing this simple little video, but we have lighting set up on the side. We have a microphone hanging over my head right now that you can't see, the tripod, the camera, and this is just a small thing. When we do the other ones, there's more lighting, more everything. And so we have to take all this equipment with us, and we use a lot of very low-end equipment because we purchase what we can with the money we have. And so, we've been growing this thing, and slowly we now have a drone, we have 2 GoPros, we have a handheld GoPro, we also have a GoPro that we can use on cars and things like that. Our goal is to have multiple GoPros and be able and get some more video cameras and be able to build this thing up where we're actually putting together something that's really excellent and really a good project. And so this project is really kind of becoming our heartbeat. While we still are doing the marketing work and things like that, this is becoming the heartbeat of Forthright Ministries, of going out and documenting testimonies. The Bible tells us in the book of Revelations that Satan was overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. And so testimonies are incredibly important, and that's what we're in the process of doing now. So that's kind of our 10-year goal, is that this whole thing will actually grow, and we'll be doing these projects all the time and doing all these interviews and documentaries of tribal people around the world and documenting their story. And that's kind of our forward heartbeat for our ministry. One of the downsides to this kind of ministry is the expense. It's a very expensive ministry. You can see behind me, we have all the computer stuff set up. We have lighting, like I said, the video equipment, editing softwares, all these different programs that go with it: video editing, photo editing, graphic design editing, cameras, equipment, batteries. You know, every piece of technology we buy then ends up requiring a case. And not only that, but for us to take this stuff on the road gets very expensive. You can imagine with flights now, everybody charges for a check bag, so you don't even get one free check bag, which means we're going to spend hundreds of dollars each flight or each trip to take luggage with us. So we've actually found that it's less expensive for us to travel by car because of the way things are. So we have a goal of purchasing a new vehicle, which you can see behind me here. We're looking at a RAV4. And it's just something, it's got the room and the mileage and everything. So the future of our ministry is really interesting, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go. That's what's fun about this 10-year celebration, is that we've been doing this for 10 years, and I don't think people actually realize that we're a ministry of helps, that we do a lot of stuff that nobody will ever see. All you see at the end of the day is a poster, and you say, oh, look at this nice poster, you know, and they don't realize a poster can take anywhere from 8 to 24 hours worth of work to put together. And that's not even including if there's, you know, discussion time leading into it or anything like that. But I can say that it's all up to this point been done because of people like you. And so I want to thank you for your time, for your prayer, for your financial donations, for anything you've done to help us. Thank you so much. If it's just been a kind word, if it's been a thank you note, and you know, if you ever have a need in your ministry, please feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to work with anybody who needs help, and just let us know if there's anything you ever need. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And here's to another 10 years of ministry for Forthright Ministries.